Welcome in this training where we are going to actually scrap the website. Okay, scrap the website content. This is basically we are going to learn in this. Okay, so for example, in the websites you have headers, you have paragraphs, and then the most importantly, you have the tables, right? So we're going to actually understand that how we can do this without any programming knowledge. Okay, now before I start this session, I want to tell you one thing very clearly that in the market there are many web scraping tools available, and there are many programming languages which are supporting the web scraping. Like there is a Python, there is a VBA, right, where we can use the Internet Explorer as our the browser, and then there is a VBA Selenium, right? And there are other also website scrapper tools available. Now they don't have any relationship with this import XML function which we are actually going to use today in Google. Okay, so the point what I'm trying to clear is that through the web programming languages you can do lot of amazing stuff, lot of automation, right? Through import XML, which is a Google Sheet function, without any programming we can still do a lot of good web scraping. So if you're not a programmer, no worries, we can use this, but there is no comparison. My suggestion is that you should learn each and everything, because learning a programming to scrap the websites has its own advantages. Okay, but still nevertheless this is a very powerful function I have seen in Google Sheets, and many thanks to Google for creating this. So this is what now I'm going to today educate you about this function. Okay, now before we start this import XML function, maybe many of you do not know about the HTML, right? Now HTML is basically a markup language, okay, which we use in the websites. Now let me show you any website. Now you see the entire content here, whatever the content you are able to see, that basically is designed in the HTML. So to display the content, that is called the HTML, and it's basically a HTML is your standard markup language. Okay, hypertext markup language. You can see that here. This session is not about web design, web designing, because I do not know it. I do not know how to design the website. But because we are going to deal with the website, we are going to deal with the HTML content which is created, on these websites. Okay, behind these websites. So definitely, a little bit of knowledge I think we can share with each other. I can share with you. Okay, so first of all, HTML is a hypertext markup language. Okay, even if you do not know the full form, you don't remember the full form, it is perfectly fine. Okay, now I want to tell you one thing, that in HTML, as you know, that this is basically we use to display the website content, right? So when we say to display the website content, it comes in many forms, guys. Okay, for example, let's first of all start with two things. Okay, so in this, first of all, we will talk about the headers, how we can generate the headers on the website, and then we will talk about the paragraphs. Let us start this, the very first thing, very simple thing. First I'll give you some knowledge about the HTML, how we can use the headers and paragraphs, and then we will see where exactly they are on this website and how we can scrap it. Okay, now if you see this, follow this W3 school website, in the introduction, over here you see that they have given us the basically the information about the header 1 and the paragraph. Header 1 actually stands for something you want to highlight it, something you want to actually show in bigger letters, right? So for that we use the H1 tag. There are H2 tag also, there are H3 tag also. H2 is smaller than H1 and H3 is going to be smaller than H2 tag, right? So header 1, header 2, header 3, you can understand in that way. You see these greater than and less than signs, right? So when you start any tag, this is how you use the sign, okay, which is the less than sign, and then when you close it, you go and use less than and greater than together with the backslash, which means that this is a closing. This is the closing here. Okay, now instead of using this, it yourself. I think confidence starts when you start building the things by your own hand. So just go and open any notepad and let us see that how we can create these tags, how we can create a website. Now to create a website, we simply go and write here HTML like this. I keep everything in small letters, HTML. Okay, and then you go and start right here HTML. Let me show you how this is going to look like. Okay, so let's say I want to create a header, so you start the header like this. Okay, and now here I'm going to say that testing is going on, and then as I said, less than sign, backslash, and h1. You have to put the backslash because this tells the HTML that this is the end of the header. If you don't do that, the code will not work. Okay, now once this header is created, I want h2 also, I want h3 also. So these are just the terms which are defined in the HTML. So I keep this as h2. Okay, and I keep this as h2. I just want to show you this. So there we go. Okay, now we have to save this. Save the file. When you save the file, wherever you are going to save, okay, so I save this as, let's say, HTML practice. HTML practice. Make sure that you go and give the extension as HTML. Please, this is very important. Okay, I save this on my desktop, right? Now you see, if I go in the desktop, this is my notepad which is open, so here I can see the code. But at the same time, if I take you to my the desktop, you see here we have this HTML practice, the page is created. Okay, so because I use the Google Chrome, so that's why by default it is created on the Google Chrome. Okay, now I'm just going to open this, double click on this. Okay, look at this now. Now this is something you see in websites also, isn't it? Like for example, I'm not sure about it. This is something this we will see as we move ahead in this course. But you know, they might have used the header tag for this h1 tag, because you can see this is kind of you know, it's giving it a very unique look. You know, it's quite heavier, it's quite bold, right? It's one of its own kind if you compare it with the rest of these, the text, isn't it? And now for example, what is the HTML? This is, I think, smaller than this, so they might have used the h2 tag, right? Well, that is something we will see later, but first we need to kind of get the understanding. So now you understand this, right? So same way I can use, if I want to use, you know, let's say the h4 tag again. Let's see that if we have the h4 tag. To be very honest, I do not know. I guess we have the header 4 tag also. So just go and save this file, and now we just need to refresh the page, and let's see that, yeah, it's there. You can see that. Okay, so now we understand that if in the website I see any header tag, h1 tag or h2 tag, this is what exactly it means, right? Now this is fine. Now once we know that we have the header tags, right? So we have the header tag like h1, and then we have the header tags h2, and then we have the header tag h3 also, and so on, isn't it? Right? So we will come to the paragraph later. Now the thing is, guys, that first time when I have to scrap this, so let's say we want to scrap the h1 tag. Okay, now how you're going to scrap this? How you're going to import all the headers over here? Now the first thing is, obviously you should know that if this website even has the headers or not, isn't it? But let's say I do not know. I just want to actually go and use this function to see that if I can have, if I have the headers, then I just want to go and, you know, bring those headers over here. So we can simply go and use the import XML. Okay, this is where you actually go and write the, you know, the website path, whatever it is. Okay, so for us the website path is let me just go and copy the path from here. You can use any website for the practice, so I just go and use this. I say Control C, and I go here, and I'm just going to say that, okay, this is my website. Right now, once the website is done, this is very important, XPath query, right? Many times, you know, I have seen that when people talk about the XPath, they take you to the XPath articles, right? I guess that is not really required, right? XPath is very important when you want to understand something using the programming languages, right? But when it comes to writing the XPath over here in the you know, import XML function, using the import XML function, you really don't need to understand, you really don't need to read any article on that. However, if just as a curiosity, out of a curiosity, if you want to learn, you can go and type in XPath, what is XPath and all that. And in fact, it's available in W3 School website also. But since I'm going to tell you each and everything from the very basics, so you don't really need to understand that, right? It's basically a structure. Structure means from parent to child element. It has its own language. Okay, now the first thing is that if you need the headers, then what you have to do, you have to go and type in here the double slash. Okay, and then you go and write in the small letters the header tag. Okay, we call these tags, right? We call in HTML, we call them tags. Okay, paragraph tag, header 1 tag, header 2 tag, anything which you write in within the greater than and less than sign, that's basically is known as HTML tag. And they have own their, the purpose, they have their own different objectives. For example, as you saw, if I want to give header, then this is how I can use them. So once you give this the double slash, okay, so you have to give the double slash. I'll tell you why, but first of all, let's just simply close this and press enter. Basically, you are saying that import XML, please go in this website and get me all the header 1 tags if they are there. So the moment I press enter, let's see that if we have those headers or not. Okay, now you see that this is kind of, I think, refreshing or what, I'm not sure. Let's wait for that. Yeah, so I think I have only the one header tag, which is HTML introduction, which is, I guess this is the one. You see that? HTML introduction. Okay, HTML and then introduction. And this is what exactly you are able to get here. Okay, now let us start now digging that if this is the HTML introduction tag and if this is the header 1 tag, then how I can go and find it out that this is actually the header 1 tag. You want to cross check because you're learning the things. So what you have to do is, on any website, on that specific text, okay, or any image or any button you have, just right click and click on the inspect. You don't find any website which actually has locked this. Okay, by chance if you are not able to right click and you're not able to see this, then that might be the reason that the website developers, they actually have locked the website. Okay, so in that case you can't do anything. All right, we must have this inspect element. So when you click on the inspect element, you basically get to see this page. Okay, this page. Now this page you can set on the left side also, like if you click on these three dots, if you are using a Google Chrome, this is how the page will look like. If you are using any other browser, this page may have a different look, but the overall the idea will remain the same. This HTML which is written on this page, that will not change. Okay, so here you can use these all different options. For example, if I go and use this one, this is going to align on the left side. If I use this is going to align on the right side. Most of the time either people use the right side or this one which I have already selected, which is top to bottom. But I'll show you. For example, if you click on this, this is where the page will go. Okay, so this is also something I'm comfortable with, right? So now what happens when you right click and when you inspect, the code actually takes you, the inspect element takes you on the right, this that HTML of that specific the content. Okay, and that's why it is important to know a little bit about the HTML. Now if you see this, guys, what happens here, you find that this introduction is written over here, right? And if you see that this is closed by the h1 tag, and if you go above, this is your actually the h1 tag. You see, this is the opening of the tag and this is the closing of the tag. Now between this, I know there is another tag called span, there is a class. This is something we'll talk later. But if you see this, actually, once if this is coming, between h1 and this, the slash backslash h1, this means that this is going to be considered as h1 tag, right? So this is our actually introduction tag. Okay, now introduction tag is there, so that means HTML must be also there. Look at this, this is the HTML tag. Now after the HTML there is a space, and then you have a, they are using the class, which I'll talk later. So that's why you don't see the HTML introduction in a single cell. First of all, let me clear that thing, because if you see, HTML introduction is coming in this way. Okay, and this is the reason that, because if you go back to your this inspect element, HTML is here, and then in the next line the introduction is there. Okay, now so that means the code, our formula import XML actually worked correct, right? Now this means that there might not be any other header ones available here. Now I always go, and when I learn something, I always try to cross check the things. I try to cross check the things from every corner, right? Now on this page, on this inspect element page, just go and use the control F, to find out. So I say control F, and you see the control F, the tag is activated, the window is activated. If you click on this page and you click, if you click here and you say control F, obviously this control F is now belongs to this page. So don't mix up the things. If you write something here, that will be searched on this page, not on this. These are the very basic mistakes you can do. So that's why I'm telling you. Okay, if you are already a web scraping programmer, then these are the very something you already know. Okay, so now I click on this page and I once again say control F. You see I'm here. Look at this now. Find by. Now here I can find out that if we have h1 tag more than one or not. So I can write here h1 and I can close this. Okay, the moment you do that, when you start writing like this h1 tag, so what happens, this tells you that there are basically total 9 tags. Now this is quite surprising. Why we are not able to get the other h1 tags? So we need to cross check. This is what I'm telling you. So right now we are on the first of the ninth h1 tag. Okay, so let's click on this, let's go down, okay, and see that where is the another h1 tag. Okay, so when I click on this, the this icon, now you can see I'm on the second tag of total of the 9 tags. Okay, now this is where actually it is taking me. Okay, now what is happening here? Let's go and scroll this. Okay, I'm going to give you a complete knowledge, because you see fundamentals should be strong. I can start writing the formula and I can tell you, okay, so you do this and this is what you get, but the point is all the websites, they may have a different structure, so I don't want you to struggle over there. Okay, now for example, in this case, if we have the 9 h1 tags, why we were able to fetch only one? Is our function incorrect, or is there something we are not able to see right away? Right now, if I see this on the h1 tag, if you pay attention here, this is my h1 tag, but the important thing is there's nothing written actually after that. You can see that. Right now, this is the opening of the h1 tag, right? And I don't see anywhere that there is any closing of this tag. You're getting the point. Now how is this possible? Because as a rule you have to close that tag also. Always you have to go and use this backslash, but the moment I hover here, I immediately see what is happening here. So basically on this website, they are actually not using h1 for something, as a header. They don't want to bold anything. They are actually saying the h1 element defines a large heading, so they are explaining the h1 tag. Are you getting the point? So this is actually entered as something called text, but because they have written this as proper h1 tag, so our code is actually, when I searched h1, the code showed me that this is actually the h1 tag. But this is not that h1 tag which we actually want, which we are talking about. I mean, this is not the h1 tag. It's something like this, that inside this, if I go and start writing here h1, for example, like this, right? If I start writing like this, and now for this, if I go and refresh the page, the h1 should actually start showing inside that specific page. Okay, you're getting the point, right? Now obviously the thing is that I can't directly, go and use the h1 like this. Maybe I have to double quotes, or I have to comment something, or as I have to use some another the tag to make sure this h1 should include inside this, like these guys have done it. They're basically using this li, right? Li basically stands for list. Okay, you see these, the dots. Okay, these dots basically stands for list. Okay, so that means this is not the dat tag. And I guess if we go down, this is how I will be able to see all. Look at this now. Again, this is something written under the table data. This is TD tag. TD tag means anything when you find the content written in the form of table, where you have the rows and the column, right? If you see on this website, this is a table basically which has 1, 2, 3, which has 3 columns and 4 rows. So for every content which is written inside this comes under the TD tag. TD tag. I'll explain you this later, okay, when we will scrap the table. But now you understand the point, they are just using this as a text, right? So wherever in this table we have the H1 tag, this page is showing us, as you can see here also. Look at this now. Look at this, right? In this case, this is what. Now in this case, if I see, this is again, this is the H1 tag, right? Under the H1 tag they have written this, this is heading, and then they are closing the H1 tag also. So again, this is entered as a text over here just to educate people about it. So I guess we have all these, the header tags in this way. So we just need not to, get into all this. Okay. So anyways, let's come back to this. So originally on this website, if you see by the H1 tag, there's just one tag. Okay, now same way we can go and check the header 2s as well. In case if we have the header 2, you just need to change that, the header 2. Now for H2 you can see we have a good amount of list over here. Okay, so tutorial, reference, exercise, quiz, all this is actually falling under the H2 tag, and we can quickly go and cross check as well. So let's say let's scroll up and let's see that. So basically I just go and decrease the width of this just to make sure I should be able to see the entire page. So I think this is tutorial. I click on inspect and let's see that. So here we go in the tutorial section over here, and let's see that what is the, it's actually tutorials and then references, right? So tutorials and references, yes. So this is what they have captured, the H2 tag. So now I increase the width. I'm also now checking. I have not done any practice on this. Okay, so let's see that if this is, where is our, first of all, the tutorial word, right? Because this is what we are getting. Okay, this is the word. Okay, fine. So we captured the tutorial. Now if we have this tutorial, then let me just click on this. You need to expand these, okay, in order to check properly everything. So basically it is under the A class. Okay, class is something we haven't done it yet, which is fine. And then there is a tutorial, and after the tutorial let me again click on this. Okay, so now if I look at this, I don't see any header 2 tag. Okay, so you can see that it's simply the A tag. A tag stands for basically the hyperlinks which we create. This is also we will discuss later. Now how will you identify, I mean, what is happening? Well, maybe I think this tutorial, the word might be somewhere else, so let's go and check that. So I can search tutorial word here also, or maybe let me try to click on this. Okay, so when I click on this, there is a tutorial word here, and I guess this is the header 2 tag, because this is, looks like a header. Okay, let's click on this, right click and inspect. Okay, let me see that. Okay, so there we go, tutorial. Oh yeah, look at this, guys. Look at this, guys. So we have found this. Wow, fantastic. Now you can see if I hover, this is also getting bold. So this is basically your header tag. Your function import XML cannot be wrong, wrong. Okay, so same way, I think in the reference also, let me click on this. So this is my reference again. So right click here, let's see that. So you can see this is also the H2 tag, and one can see that this is quite bigger in size. Okay, so what else? I think exercise was also there. Exercise and quizzes is there. So on this website, wherever we have these H2 tags, you will be able to see. So exercise and quizzes is also available here, right? Exercise and quizzes is also available here. Okay, what about this HTML tutorial? Well, let's check that HTML tutorial. So where I'm going to get the HTML tutorial, let's see that. Let's say in the tutorial section, and yeah, this is the HTML tutorial. I can right click and I can check. Okay, so yeah, look at this, the header 2 tag is there. Expand this, and perfect, right? So we have the tutorial here and we have the HTML. Now you also need to understand one thing, that HTML, so what they have done this, first they have used span and then afterwards there's a tutorial. So both these are not as a single syntax. I mean, like last time if you remember, then the content was written together, exercise and quizzes were together, right? So you need to understand this also. So if I go in the exercise, this is what I see, exercise and quiz, and if I take you to the inspect element, you see this is all together, right? What if I have, let's say, created this in a first line and then in the another line in a different tag I have written quizzes, then obviously you would see the output like exercise and quizzes separately. Okay, so this is something you always make sure you understand the things. So when I go in this HTML tutorial, I find that basically HTML is written first inside this tag, span tag, and tutorial is written afterwards. Okay, span is basically is another property, it's another element which we use to customize the words. Okay, so they wanted to customize the HTML, that's why they have just kept everything in the span. Opening of the span is here, and you can see the closing always happens with the backslash. Okay, so that's why when I go to my website, when I go to my this import XML, I see this different and I see it's different. Anyways, if you want to concatenate all these things, you can just go and use the functions which we have in Google Sheets. Like I can just go and maybe join them, or I can just go and use the concatenate also. It's up to you. Okay, that's something I'll not get into that. So one thing is this, that now we have the h2 tag. So let's completely now let's move ahead, and here I'm just going to write here h1 tag. Okay, so same way, if you just want to check something by the name of h3, you can go and check h3 as well. Okay, look at this. Now this is the h3 tag. Okay, h3 tag, and this is the h1. So let's copy this function here and let's just go and paste this here. um, Sorry about that. Where is my function? This is my function, so I just go and write here the function here, and I keep this as h1. Okay, just for information. So we have h1 here, and this is your h3, and this is your h2 tag. Okay, one thing please remember guys, that whenever you're writing these, your function should not be confronting with some other values. For example, this is my function, right? This is my function. Now for example, what I do, I simply go and cut this from here and I press enter. Okay, now for example, I've written here something called hello. Okay, there is some text which is written. Now if I write here, let's say anything, and now I go back here and try to write that function, control V, let me do this, and I go and press enter. Okay, you find this error called reference error. Okay, whenever you find the reference error, please go and read the description also. Array result was not expanded because it would overwrite data in H19. I think Google has done a classic work, a great work when it comes to the errors. Errors are, the messages are so clear now, because this is coming in between that function. After all, function has to export all the those values, so this cell is coming in the function way. So make sure you give the enough space. I delete this and you have the answer. Same happens when you go and try to export a huge data, and if you have written something here, reference error will come. Okay, so for your information, if the reference, this error is if it is coming, if the reference error is coming, then when you read the description, it basically means that your function, this is why we call this array function. You read the description, because you see, you don't have to drag this function. The moment you press enter, the function automatically spills over the other cells as per the data. Okay, so that's why we call this array function. Okay, so this array function actually needs the enough space, so that data can be pasted. Okay, so please make sure that you don't have any interference in terms of any data, any text value written. Okay, now once we are done with this, the another thing now we want to go and do is, let's talk about the paragraph now. So I'm just going to create a copy of this. Okay, so let's create the duplicate copy. Now paragraph is pretty simple, very straightforward. Paragraph we generally in HTML we used when we have to write some paragraphs, you know, as the name itself suggests, it's very clear. So how we can do that? Well, for that, basically for the paragraph we use the tag called p. And again, whenever you write something, you have to close that tag, okay, by using the backslash. Okay, so now let me just go and delete all this. This is another sheet, and I give this name called paragraph tag. Okay, so now on your website there can be a lot of paragraphs. Like for example, mostly you find that, you know, something which you have written in this way, these are the paragraphs. Okay, so what I can do is, again, we can quickly go and see if I have to scrap the paragraph, how I can do that. Okay, so this is your basically the p tag. Let me write the function and then let's move ahead. It's very simple. So you go here and you, in the backslash double slash, you go and write p, okay, small p, and let's see that if we have some paragraphs. And now you can see we have got here some paragraphs. Okay, these are all the paragraphs. Now we will not stop here. We got to actually check that, you know, how if I double click over here, for example, you see that some of the paragraphs are in different cell and some of the paragraphs are in different cell. Now this can be a challenge for you, isn't it? But you know, you should know that why actually this is happening. First of all, what is the reason for that? Again, like last time you saw, this must be in a single line. Like this if I go in the website, which I will go in a while, they must have written all the syntax, you know, over here, like HTML is the standard markup language, blah blah blah, and then they must have closed it like this, and that's why we are able to fetch the paragraph properly, okay, in this way. And I mean, this could be the reason. Let me just cut this and paste it here, because I'm interfering in the range of this. Right, so again, this is also fine. Now what about this? Right, what about this? The HTML element is everything. I think in this case it might be the reason that, you know, this is written in one different tag, this is written in different tag, and then this is written in different tag. So well, that's a different thing, but we are able to scrap. So we need to cross verify this, isn't it? First of all, HTML is the standard markup language. Let's quickly go and find it out. Where is it? Okay, well, HTML is a standard markup language for creating web pages. I think this is the page. So if I right click on this and I inspect this, it should have a paragraph, and as you can see, this has a paragraph. Wow, this is wonderful, right? I hope you're understanding. So you see, it starts with the paragraph, and then there is some class name, which we will talk later. HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages, and you see the paragraph is stopped. So inside this, there is no actually the any other tag. So this is all, you know, in a single line. You can increase the width also. Right now, I'm not. If I don't keep the enough width, don't think that this is on the second line. This is due to the lack of the proper width. Okay, there's no any other tag over here. So first thing is clear that, okay, we have got this. Now what about the another? So let me pick the another one. HTML element is defined by the start tag. So this must be somewhere here, I guess. HTML is defined by, let's quickly just scroll this little down. Might be somewhere here. I do not know. We have to go and check. Well, I think this is the one. You see, an HTML element is defined. So if I right click here and I inspect, you know, this is the paragraph. Okay, this is, you can see this is the paragraph. Okay, now if you want to check that why the other, now, you know, the things are not written under the paragraph, you can check. I mean, there's no problem. For example, this also, this is something which is written, the P element defines a paragraph. You can right click on this and you can check what is happening, right? So if I go in the inspect, you see this is not under the paragraph, this is under the list. As I told you, when you want to actually create some bullets, you know, like this, you can always use these list tags. So nowhere you can see this, what they have written, you know, the then, and then they have written this P, and then element defines a paragraph, right? This P is not basically that the tag we are talking. This P is basically a text which they have printed. So that's why your code, your import XML was not able to pick this. Understand? Because for you, this might look like a paragraph and this also might look like a paragraph. No, we don't have to go by our own, understanding. We have to see what the web developer has written. Okay, this is very important. So I hope now you have understood. So the last thing which we want to see, that why this is split. The HTML element is everything from the start to the end tag. So where is it? So HTML element is everything from the start to the start tag to the end tag. Now on the web page, this looks same. On the web page, this is coming in the same line, but how it is designed, that is very different thing. Please understand. So if I click on this inspect, because I can see that what they have done, they have bold this, they have given this a bolder look, isn't it? So they might have used some tags because of which your data is not coming in the same cell. So anyways, let's click on the inspect. Let's see that. Okay, we're not going to leave anything. So let me increase the width, and this is where you are. Okay, so now you can see they're using the strong tag. Strong tag means basically to bold something. There is another tag called /b. Okay, not slash, but I mean there's less than sign and then b and then close, that is to bold. Bold is another thing, strong is another thing. So they are kind of giving this element a focus, right? So paragraph starts from here, okay, and paragraph stops here. But if we see this, now this is what is written. Look at this. I'm trying to increase the width of this. Okay, and this is generally actually on the next line, as you can see, because after the HTML the double quote is closed. That's the first line, and they are starting with another tag which is strong. They want to make element look like strong. Okay, and it is also, you can see it's quite highlighted. And then afterwards there's another line where they have written is everything from the start tag to the end tag. Unlike the previous time, where you find everything in the single line and then there is a double quotes in the starting and double quote in the end. So now you understood, right? Now you can't do anything about this, guys. Please understand. I mean, you can't change this. Only the developer can change. And obviously, you can't tell your developers, because you might be scrapping a website which is not your website, isn't it? So the point is, you have to find out the ways by using some Google functions, that how the things you go and use this, so that, because right now this I really want to concatenate this, so everything should come in the same place. So then you can go and use those Google functionalities. That is a altogether a different thing. Okay, so this is something you have to do it. Now same way, if you see this note, some HTML elements have no content. Well, we can see this once again. So I see this note is coming some HTML elements. So I just simply go and say inspect, and this is where you are, you see, right? So you have to click on this to expand this, but for sure this is a paragraph, as you can see, right? Again, so note is there inside the strong tag, and then there is another line which is written, right? If I just try to increase the width of this, look at this now. This is how it is, right? So you see, if I increase the width, what is happening, this line is, everything is in a single line. Make sense or not, right? Now you don't need to check this by increasing the width. That's a very stupid approach. If I will do in this way, I just have to see one thing. Which is what I just told you. Who will tell me how I'm supposed to check if this is the same line or not? Well, you see the double quotes, isn't it? You see here the double quote starts, and nowhere here we have the double quotes. You can see that double quote comes here. Okay, everything goes between that. So this means some HTML element have no content. These elements are called empty elements. They do not have an end tag. This is a single line actually, right? So when I go to the page, you see that this is all coming in the single line. So your function import XML is fabulous. It's not creating all these, it's not splitting the data just like that without any reason. Okay, this is due to the designing of the HTML. So I hope now you have understood this. Okay, now one thing you might be wondering, that why I'm using the double slash. Well, you see, when you write the double slash, so basically you tell that inside the website, inside that web page, anywhere, wherever you find this p, right, just go and get me the all those details under that tag. So that's why we have to write the double slash. If we don't write the double slash, you see the data won't come, the error will come. Okay, now there is a single slash also, which I will tell you later, okay, in the next lecture. But right now please understand, we have to go and write double slash if we want to go inside any tag, because we do not know where is this p tag, but it is somewhere inside the web page, isn't it? So that's why when you write the double slash, they tell you that okay, it can be anywhere, just go and pick all those paragraph tags. Okay, let's meet in the next lecture now.